9662.
Working through the legal system is challenging and risky, especially if you don't have the right attorney at your side. Hi, my name is Sonia Aston, and I'm an attorney with over 30 years of experience. I've helped small and medium-sized businesses and business owners to make sure that their legal rights and interests are protected. As general counsel for you and your organization, I can draft and review solid contracts, minimize the risk of litigation, review and prepare comprehensive business succession plans, or help you navigate your company with the local, state, and federal government. Take a decisive step today. I'm here to make sure your legal rights are protected and you have a peace of mind that you deserve.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world, you are watching Now Media Television.
Hi, I'm your host and guide, Michael Rager, here on Biz Talk TV, on all the Now Media television networks. I'm telling you this, I'm so excited about what's going on in business right now. And as a business owner, one of the things you really got to worry about is profits. And we're going to talk a lot about profits today. But when I was really first getting into business coaching, one of the TV shows I actually used to watch was The Profit. There's this guy, Marcus Lemonis, he'd go on and he'd help buy into businesses and do stuff. But he also laid down what was the foundation of profits. And there's three things. He called it the three Ps. First is people. It's not just the people that work for you, but it's your customers. We've got to understand how well we treat our people that work for us. It directly relates to how well they treat our customers. And that helps us become a better business owner. The next thing is product. Whether it's you develop an actual product or a widget, or you give a service, your product needs to be great. You need to be able to go ahead and upgrade it and upsell it, cross-sell it, downsell it, do everything you need to do and figure it out. Because the more product you get out, the more people you affect, the better it is. And then the last thing, and I really think this is the most important thing to increasing profit in your business, is your process. If you go ahead and you effectively get your processes working, that means you do things more effectively. So the more effective you do things, the more money you make. It is not about marketing. It is not about business development. Once you get people, product, process down, then you go and pour money into your marketing funnel, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to make all the money in the world. So we're going to come back here in a minute. We're going to start off, talking about that in P&L statements with my good friend Kristen Gunderson, and we're going to go ahead and talk about how these things affect you as a business owner. So I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. We're here now on Now Media Television. Come back and join us, and we're going to talk about profit in your business and how you're going to make it grow in 2023.
Hello, my name is Colleen Meagle and I'm an attorney. Let's talk business. Do you have a business that you want to buy or sell? It's crucial to get an attorney involved sooner rather than later in any sale process, because the moment that documents are signed, your leverage goes right out the window. So make sure that you get what you really want and protect yourself in the process. So if you're looking to sell, let's talk. I've handled acquisitions for Fortune 200 companies and helped numerous business owners discover how a great lawyer is a partner in a transaction, guiding you through the process and preventing you from making mistakes that can cost you thousands. My goal is to provide my clients with focused, cost-effective, yet practical legal solutions. So let me help you with your legal needs. Call me today, 713-300-9662.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business guide and host, Michael Rager. As you can see, Kristen Gunderson right here.
Hello.
Live and in the flesh. So, Kristen, we're going to talk a little bit about P&L statements today, right?
Yes.
So, what's a P&L statement, and why does a business owner really need to understand it?
Well, the P&L, basically, the top line says how much money you're bringing in, what your revenue is. And then you have your cost of goods sold, those costs that are directly tied to when you sell something. Those are considered your cost of goods sold. Like if you didn't have those sales, you wouldn't have those costs. And then you have your gross profit. And then you have all of your other expenses, your overhead, your rent, your insurance, payroll, like admin, and all those other costs are your expenses. And then the bottom line is your net profit. Hopefully you have a net profit, but it tells you how much money you're making, what your cost of goods sold are, what your expenses are, and what your net profit is. And of course we want that to be positive.
Yeah. How often should a business owner look at it?
All the time, at least monthly for sure. But if you can be looking at that weekly, that's even better. That way you can catch, like, say if payroll's getting too high, or maybe you can look to see, hey, my revenue should be higher. Like I thought it would be higher, and maybe you need to catch, are people being slow to pay you? You need to catch up on your accounts receivable. So I make it a practice in my business. I look at it every Monday morning to see what's going on, and if I need to fix stuff, I can fix it throughout the week.
Yeah, I had a client of mine, we were talking about it off camera, that came to me and said, hey, Mike, I don't know what's going on. I made $300,000 this month, but I lost $59,000. And we looked at it, and it was employees. He had gone out, and they bid contracts on straight time, and his average person was putting in 78 hours a week on time and a half.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't catch that stuff throughout the month, you can end up with a huge loss like that, and it's too late to do anything about it.
Right. And we got to be able to bring those things back. And so as a business owner, understanding, we've got P&L statements, we got balance sheets, we've got all these things, but business owners are scared. They're afraid of those things, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot of businesses, they go into business because they're really great at what they do. They're really great at construction, plumbing, cleaning, whatever they're doing, but they may not know the numbers, and that's why you need a good bookkeeper, a good accountant, because they do understand the numbers, and you need to be in communication with them to be able to talk about what's going on.
Yeah, with that client I had, if he would have got a hold of me earlier, he lost $59,000. We could have stopped that.
Yeah, stop the bleeding.
We did. It took us 5 weeks to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And so he ended up losing a little bit more than that. But if he would have been looking at that thing, he looked at it after the fact.
Yeah.
After the fact. And so many business owners, they have a hard time figuring out, when do I close out my books? When do I look at this? Why is that such a big issue?
Real-time accounting is so important. You need to be in there. Like if you have like QuickBooks Online or something, you should be able to go in and code your financials or code your bank feeds every single day to be able to see what's happening. And if you want to be looking at it every single day, you can literally run a P&L and see how it's going. That way you can easily see the trends. And if something's going off trend, you can make that correction quicker to stop any huge losses.
Yeah, trends are an important thing. We got to be looking at whether we're trending up, we're trending down, we're staying, staying in the right place. It's important because we got to understand our cash flow. We've got bills to pay, and we got to make sure our accounts receivable are up and all those things. And if we're not paying attention to it, those are the things that can get a business owner off track, right?
Exactly. Cash flow is so important, and that's the number one reason why businesses, 2 out of 1 don't make it to their 5th birthday because they have cash flow problems because they're not looking at their financials. Yeah,
I know. I see it all the time. I'm coaching about 12 clients right now, and out of the 12, I think 10 of them got AR issues. Yeah. And it's just going back and just going to your clients and say, hey, look, we've done the work. We've done what you have. You have the invoice. Please pay us.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be a jerk about it, but
again, like every Monday, I have it a policy in my business. If there's accounts receivable, like we are reaching out to them. Once they reach net 60, and we have a net 10 that we pay. Once it reaches net 60, once it reaches net 30, we're calling them up on the phone to make sure that they're paying because maybe they just haven't seen the email. Net 60, we cut them off. And then we pretty much send them to collections after that. If they don't make a promise to pay.
You just got to you got to put together a process on that, and it's a process of making sure you get paid. You do the work, you're expected to get paid and you're expected to get the money. And it's fair, right?
Exactly.
All right, so if people want to have, you sit down and help them look at these things, how do they get a hold of you, Kristen?
The best way is you can either call. Our phone number is 936-372-2661, or you can reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Gunderson's Bookkeeping.
So you're also very social and you're out and about. What kind of things you got going on in Houston in the next few weeks where people can come out and actually meet you?
Yeah, we have an event coming up March 1st, that first Wednesday out in Waller County. We have an event coming up. So if you want to, again, find me on Facebook because that's where I share those events, and it's out in Waller County at Pine Island Country Store from like 5 to 7 p.m., so it's after work.
Yeah, it's coming out, give a little networking, get to meet people and shake people's hands and get to know them and see how you can do business together.
Exactly.
So thanks a lot, Kristen. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that. I'm Michael Rager, your business guide, and we're going to be right back with more Now TV here on the Business Talk Show.
You probably already know that first impressions are never forgotten. However, did you also know the way you feel about yourself contributes to your quality of life and the opinions of others? Hi, my name is Kristen Gunderson. My mission is to help people by flipping the switch inside their body, which in turn will help them to feel better and do more. In fact, once you feel your best, you will be able to pour into others, keep your cup full, and reach every goal you have set up for yourself, whether it's personal, family, or business related. The way you feel will dictate the way you think and the way you live your life. Feeling your best is necessary to achieve your goals. You deserve to put yourself first. Let me help you flip the switch so you can feel better and do more. Let's talk. I know I can help.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV on the Now Media television networks. I got my good friend, Katrin Becker. Katrin, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Michael. Pleasure to be here as always.
I know, you had little issues this morning, huh? A little internet bingo going on.
Yeah, we're kind of a slave to technology sometimes, but it all worked out, so we're good.
So what are we going to talk about today? We're talking about transitions, huh? We're talking about some transitions. So what happens and what do we see in people that transition from let's say ground level into their first management phase? What starts happening with people?
Well, we started off a few weeks ago talking about the most important relationship with ourself, and that really plays a part into this. There is something called the Peter Principle, which says that you will be promoted until you reach your level of incompetence. And you see this a lot in sales teams, and you see this a lot in technical places. So if you've got a technical engineer, for example, and I saw this a lot in my previous career, they're great at the technical aspect. They're a strong left brainer. They're really good with numbers. They're really good with processes. And they kept going and going in the technical aspect until they get promoted to manager. Well, now they no longer have a skill set that serves what they're meant to be doing. They don't have the people skills necessary in order to lead the team because they're so good at numbers and processes, but they're not so good at the human aspect. You'll also see this on sales teams where salespeople tend to be strong right-brainers. They've got the people skills. They know how to talk to people. They're not so good with numbers and processes. So when they get promoted to manager, they don't have the skill set in order to manage that aspect of the business. And what you don't see happening is there's not a great training program because you just see this person's really great. They're ready for the next level, but there's not a process in place to have a skill assessment to make sure that that employee has the necessary skills to do what's required at the managerial level.
Yeah, I had a client of mine back pre-pandemic, and he was a colonel in the Air Force. And he's part of the Department of Justice. And he said, we had that big issue because the only way we could pay good people was to move them up and get into GS level. and we couldn't keep them where they were and pay them more. We had to move them up in that leadership position. They weren't ready to lead. And that's really what it comes down to, right? You know, understanding how to lead people and manage things is a big difference, isn't it?
It's a very, very big difference, and it's really detrimental to the employee themselves, because here you've got an employee that is great at their job. You know, maybe they're an overachiever. They are just completely excelling at what it is that they do. And now they're put into a position where they're not excelling. And this can have some serious mental impacts to them. And you'll hear the phrase imposter syndrome thrown around a lot, where people will say that they're a fraud or they're a phony, that they have these feelings of these insecurities internally that they're not sharing because they've had a level of competence. They know what it looks like to succeed, but now they're in a place where they feel like they don't succeed, where they feel like they don't have enough information, they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, it was really funny. I remember there was a really great leader I had at a financial services company, and he'd get up and talk about the dreams he had. He said he had 2 dreams, and I remember having the exact same dreams. He said, one, I'd just show up naked. It was like weird, like I was totally exposed for the fraud that I was. And the second one, I would show up in a class in college for the last day for the final exam and realize I hadn't been there the whole time. And, you know, how did I get here without doing it? And how do you help people overcome that imposter syndrome? Because that's really important. We need to help them get better.
Well, there's 2 ways that I help companies with this. So one, I do a lot of work on personality assessments and helping to make sure that teams are balanced. Because when you do the personality assessment, like for me, most people when they meet me now can't even fathom that I was in engineering for 17 years. They're like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't equate. So I had these other skill sets that made me good for manager, and I can do both roles. So by understanding your team early and understanding them at a deeper level, you're able to see what players are there, and it can help with your succession planning so that you can identify who those players are early and start giving them that training that works them up so that they're ready for the manager role. So that's one part. That's really being the proactive. On the reactive side, there's a lot of work that we can do to help alleviate those feelings of imposter syndrome. Because there are times where we might know more than we think we know, but we're not able to see it clearly because we have all of the guilt and shame, which are very isolating emotions. Those are emotions that we don't share with others, and so we don't seek out the help that we need. So if someone is feeling this, one of the listeners, they can reach out to me, and this is an area where I excel at helping people to remove the emotions attached with those thoughts.
Yeah, well, we both came, you know, it was funny, we started talking when we first met, we both came from the same industry and both did the same thing. And in that industry, they promoted seller doers. And it is like, they would hire you to be in leadership and be a seller doer. And it's 2 totally different personality traits, and it's 2 totally different skill sets. Why should and why shouldn't companies do that?
For exactly what you said, they're 2 totally different skill sets. You know, both, of course, we all have the left brain and the right brain, but predominantly there's one that we're going to be more comfortable with. And the seller doer model really is saying you need to be an expert at a left brain thing and a right brain thing. And that's just kind of an unrealistic expectation to put on someone. And it's just going to lead to burnout. It doesn't go anywhere good.
Yeah, it does, you know, because we work for, it was funny, we found out we worked for some of the same companies, or we knew some of the same people. And that's exactly what happened. You'd burn people out. They didn't know what was going on, and they would just move from company to company to company, and they wouldn't get any better. And
well, I mean, look at both you and I. We're not doing it anymore.
Got out. Screw it. You know, I'm out of here. You know, and I think I talked about this once before I met you on this show, is I was a quiet quitter in 2017 at a vice president position because people wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't know what they do. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to sit here, and I took a paycheck for 6 months while I was looking for something else. And for me, it was to exit and go out by myself.
Yeah.
So it's quiet quitting, you know, that's not on the person, it's on the company, right?
100%, because nobody wants to be a quiet quitter. It doesn't feel good to be taking money for services not rendered. You know, it doesn't feel good. People in integrity don't like that feeling and don't want to be living that way, but they feel like they have no other option. And so that's why they're looking for other things on company time.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a minute left here. Tell people a little bit how they're going to get a hold of you, how they're going to work with you, and how much fun it is.
Well, it's super fun, as you can see, because I don't believe that business has to be serious. I think serious can business can be fun at the same time. And so I really bring a lot of that to the workshops that I do to make them engaging and memorable so that people know what they're doing and remember it. So resultsetter.com is the best way to reach out to me. That is where I will have all of my assessments, my team building, my goal setting workshops that I have, some really fun stuff and really valuable information.
Well, I'm telling you people out there, if you're not following Kat on LinkedIn, you should, because like she did this great podcast the other day, and she's doing this thing. She's on social media more than I am. So I'm spending the time right now to catch up so I can be Kat. I want to be just like Kat. So you got to do that as a business owner. So Kat, you have a great day. Are you traveling this week or are you at home?
I'm home this week.
You're home? I'm going barbecue cook-off. So it's going to be an exciting beer-filled weekend. So you have yourself a good one, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week, Kat.
Sounds good, Michael. Thank you.
All right, I'm Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV on the Now Media television networks. We're going to be right back right after this.
If you have the perfect health insurance plan and you don't want to save any money, you might want to stop listening now. However, if you are like the rest of us who know that the number one cause of bankruptcy is unexpected medical costs due to subpar coverage, you really want to listen closely. Even if you owe 20% of your medical costs for a large claim, like cancer or a bad accident, it will wipe out the wealth you have worked for your entire career. That's why when it comes to choosing health insurance, it's important to get the right coverage for you and your family. I'm April Clark with Clark Health Insurance. My mission and passion is to simplify the process for small business owners, families, and self-employed individuals. Protect your health and start saving money on your insurance today.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business guide, Michael Rager, and I got my good friend Mac and Natalia. Natalia's over there in Warsaw. So welcome. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, thanks so much for having us back.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about conflict resolution. We're going to talk about it both in business and in personal context. So Mac, tell us a little bit about conflict resolution. What's available for businesses right now?
Yes, so it's not just for businesses, but for anybody in their everyday lives as well. How do you resolve disputes and conflicts that you're having? There's a few different ways. The most common one we all know about, of course, is like negotiation, where people go and sit down and try to compromise. Well, negotiation typically deals with two parties, right? Trying to hash it out, the disagreement. However, the most common type of negotiations, so to speak, is where mediation comes in, where there's a third person now, a mediator, who is neutral, who tries to help you guys reach a resolution. And there's other types of conflict resolution. There's like arbitration, where this third party comes in as like a judge. There's ombuds who might work at a corporate level and who's down the hall, and you might go to them to help you resolve your employee disputes. So there's different types of conflict resolution that exist, but the most common one is mediation.
So Natalia, it seems like a lot of these same things are available in your personal life as well as business. How does it differ? How does it differ in personal conflict resolution versus business conflict resolution?
Oh yes, it does differ in a way that usually more emotions are engaged in what you are doing. Therefore, the best way to do that is go to mediation rather with your family issues than to negotiations. Because negotiations require that the parties are present together. Sometimes they're accompanied by attorneys. However, in mediation, you have the third party neutral that is able to facilitate communication, that is really keeping track of what's happening so that nobody gets intimidated, so that the atmosphere is good and communication is safe to every single party. However, when you are talking about the workplace, for example, and again, a lot of emotions can be engaged in that. In the workplace, conflicts can be also resolved by arbitration. And again, the interesting concept, which I want to expand later on upon, of ombuds.
So, Matt, what are the benefits of business owners going into mediation or these things? Why should they do it?
Yeah. So, If people could just resolve their disputes themselves, then there would be no problems.
Right.
But a lot of times people find themselves going to court, which they spend a lot of money trying to do it. So the benefits of going to mediation instead of trying to hash it out yourself or going to court is, one, it's cheaper, it's confidential, it's binding on the parties. You know, if we were to have a disagreement and then we tried to work it out ourselves, it might go so far until the last person pulls out and says, you know what, I changed my mind. But a mediation is binding on the parties. It's explicitly in the law. It provides for the protection so that when you go in there, you put your good faith arguments forward, you know when you can trust that the process is going to actually result in a clean, enforceable, binding agreement on all sides. People can't just play with your emotions. They just can't play with whatever they think the outcome should be. They're going to have a strict, binding, final agreement. The other benefit of mediation is that you're empowered. You're empowered to resolve the dispute yourselves. You don't have to put it in the hands of a third person like a judge who will make a decision potentially that both sides, might disagree with. So a mediation is where the parties come together to facilitate a resolution that mutually benefits both of them.
So Natalia, let me ask you this. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into this. And when this happens and a dispute's been quote unquote settled, what kind of happens and how do we make sure these things stay enforced as we continue to work together?
There is a little work for lawyers sometimes, although mediators are legally prepared to prepare a binding agreement. However, we can have disputes that pertain to really this legal sphere. And if it is the legal sphere, you are having a legally binding contract. However, sometimes people come to mediation also with some really family issues when they want to make sure that the communication within the family members gets better, when they were estranged for some time, for example, after the pandemic. So in here, that will be less of the enforceability issue, but of making sure that everybody knows that we are on the same page. However, when it comes to the mediation settlement agreement, being the legally binding contract, it is important that it just follows the law because it can be enforced like a judgment.
Mac, I'm going to look at if I'm a business owner and I got something going, how do I find a mediator? What should I expect to pay, for example, types of things like that?
So great question. So first, just like I've mentioned before, we're trying to have a paradigm shift where if you have a problem, the first thing you do is not necessarily just call up a lawyer. Mm-hmm. We want the first thing people do is to think about, let me find a third party neutral first who I could invite the other side to. So tip number one, select a few mediators to choose from and then give those names to the other side, your opponent. Because your opponent, you don't want them to believe or think that mediator is in your back pocket, right? Because they're supposed to be neutral. And so once your opponent gets a few different names and they see, wow, you're trying to act in good faith to try to resolve this dispute, let them select one of the individuals and then you guys go to that person. Now, where could you go to find the individual? There's, first off, Google. But Natalia and I were participating in setting up instantmediations.com, which has a map where there's lots of mediators who are available, and we're on the map as well. People can just go and select us from multiple people. Different mediators charge different fees, of course, and so typically in the jurisdictions that we work in, you might look at $400 per party for a few 4-hour mediation. Okay. But if it's a business-related mediation dispute that has multiple companies involved, it might be much more expensive. So it all depends on the kind of dispute that exists. Is it a family dispute? Is it a relationship dispute? Is it an employer-employee dispute? Is it a business dispute that involves bankruptcy, for example? It all depends on the costs associated with the kind of business.
Okay, that's awesome, because you just don't want to think that you got your buddy in the back pocket, you're going to bring him out and get there. So Natalia, you guys do this really cool podcast. Tell us a little bit about that and where people can hear you and how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you so much. Our podcast really gives you so much more information on the topics we're touching with now on different types of mediation, meaning mediation in your workplace or ombuds, the concept of which I really wanted to say a few words about, which is like a third party neutral, but within the employment environment. Someone who is either employed from the outside or within the company, but different from HR, so different from human resources manager, and someone who helps resolve those disputes. The concept is very new, and the concept is really very much expanding, and I think it is even on that worth listening to some of our speakers on the podcast. And also what we have on the podcast are some tips for pro se, and I want to explain this term as well. Pro se is a party who is not represented by a lawyer. And please know that you can go to mediation without a lawyer. It is open to you. You can go there anytime and speak about everything you want. Sometimes, though, it will be advisable that you do have some legal advice, because mediator will not be giving you any legal advice. And on top, you can also see different things, how it goes. We also have on our YouTube channel and on our podcast mock mediation. You can see how mediation works. You can see what different procedures are there, what techniques mediators are using. You can also see some news from different jurisdictions, from Florida, from Texas, from Poland. So really, we welcome everybody, and we find and we hope that it will be an interesting resource for educational purposes to the public.
Oh, that's awesome. So out there, business owners, I'm telling you, conflict's going to arise. It's how you handle it, and handle it the right way. Don't go out and bring in the lawyers right off the bat if you don't need to. So go ahead and reach out, find Mac, Natalia, and have them hopefully help you solve your problems. I'm Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV. We're going to be right back right after this.
Hey y'all, Fathead here with Fathead Spices. My goal is to give you Texas-made spices, rubs, and food products for all your events. Whether it's outdoor, indoor, or just hanging out at the deer lease, we got you covered. We're proud of our customer service. We want to help you make your food better. One thing's for sure, y'all, life's short, spice it up.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business guide and host, Michael Rager, on all the Now Media television networks. I'm so excited. We got a new guest today, and it's Mr. Leo Simpson. Leo, how are you today, my friend?
Very well, Michael. Glad to be here with you. Awesome opportunity.
Man, it's been awesome. You know, me and you, we met each other back in like 2015, 2016. And
13,
also just
actually. That's
reconnected, and it's like, boom, like we hadn't even missed a beat, right?
Absolutely, man. That's exciting. That's when you know it's good.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about something interesting. Okay, we hear this all the time. We got to find in business work-life balance. And you're like me. You're telling me work-life balance is BS, right? Tell me about it, and why doesn't it work?
Man, it starts with, you got to understand construction of phrases and words, but also you have to think about measures. And the word balance is something that is a measure-related verbalology. I know that's another word that I made up, but I like to say it that way. That construct of word is important because you're weighing something. You're looking at, does it have the ability to have equilibrium? And in order to balance something, you have to have two things. Now, here's what people are doing. They are calling work the career side and life the family, the private side. The issue is work is a type of life. And so to say that work-life balance is something to achieve is actually insane, because it's one thing not being able to be pitted against something with opposing force and energy. So when you're trying to achieve work-life balance, the problem is all in the construction, because you're only trying to balance the thing that we call career, profession, and work.
Yeah, it's too many people, they worry about work, and I think we talked about this the other day. We were just chatting. One of my mentors used to say, he goes, here's a problem with what's going on, is people spend all this time, they get up in the morning and they're rushing, and they're going to go spend this time with people that really don't care about them, and they're going to put them in a bad mood, and they're going to get home through rush hour and this and this. They're going to go spend time with the people they love the most after the people that they could really care less about them have ruined their day. Does that happen all the time?
Man, here's the issue, man. So this is a perspective I talk about a lot within the context of my family business life mastery coaching strategy. And that is that family life and business life are meant to be teammates, not opponents. And so that thought process that you just introduced is directly connected with the issues of work-life balance. And therefore, people don't really see how, even though I don't really prefer to be in this job or spend all of this time, it is where I am for this time and this season, and I need to give my best to it. But when you're looking at it on the basis of work-life balance, it doesn't work. But when you look at it in the context of family life and business life working together as teammates and in tandem, then you can say, okay, there's an energy source for family life, and then there's an energy source for business life, and I need to be focused on what I need to be given for business life when I'm going to work, my career aspect. I mean, I like these people, but I've made a commitment to this environment, so I've got to be completely engaged there. When you understand that aspect, when it's over, I need to be ready to be completely engaged over here. Now you can tap into the energy for the family life. Now you've kind of compartmentalized it and put yourself in a position to where you can thrive in both areas, utilizing the mindset, the frameworks that go with both of those. When you're trying to balance it and put them together, it creates friction and frustration just because you're thinking about it the wrong way.
Yeah. Are there tools and techniques that people can say, hey, I'm going to put myself into the business mindset right now. Boom, I want to get to the door, this happens. Or when I leave, I'm going to put myself back into dad or mom role. What do I need to do? How do you help people do that?
Man, the first thing is we position people to understand that family life and business life are meant to be teammates, right? You've got to change your thinking, especially you got to get rid of that first misleading belief of work-life balance. Like, you got to get away from that. Once you challenge what it is you've believed about it and say, okay, what should I believe? Then you can transform your perspective and position yourself to say, okay, I can look at each one of these from the standpoint of how I'm supposed to engage. Here's the biggest tool I'll give anybody today. When you understand, first and foremost, that family life and business life are meant to be teammates, not opponents, what happens is you understand that family life requires that you give more a quality of time than a quantity of time. Business life then requires that you give more of a quantity of time than quality of time. And when you understand the specific dynamics between those two and how you are to approach them, then you can now say, okay, what am I supposed to do based on how I engage in these or in another? And it starts with changing how you're thinking about it. You do that, oh my goodness, you're going to put yourself on a trajectory to start mastering both of those and flowing between them and creating exceptional value.
Yeah, I know. I was meeting with my coach yesterday, and one of the things he hit, Mike, is, look, you've got the tools, you got this, you got some things, but right now the only thing that's blocking you back is right here. And that's the thing we got to get. And when people work with you, that's one of the things they find out is how to get that, I don't want to say it so I get kicked off TV, crap out of my head about this and move it. So how do you, we got like 2 minutes, how do you quickly start eliminating the trash from their head?
Well, the first thing is the questions that, one, I ask them, but also letting those questions position them to know the questions that they're asking themselves. And more so, are they asking any questions of themselves to understand what it is that they're thinking in their mind? I mean, we have a whole framework. We've done 9 days of intensive with regard to talking about the misleading beliefs. We've talked about the accurate beliefs. We've talked about the master keys with regard to achieving family business life mastery. But you've got to start with, what questions are you asking yourself? But for me as the coach, it's more important that I ask them those powerful questions so that they can position themselves to understand the importance of the type of questions they ask themselves.
Well, cool. We got a minute left. So you've got like some challenges going on. You got all this other stuff. How do people get a hold of you and find out about that stuff so you can go help them?
Absolutely, man. So we've actually been live for the last 9 days, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. And we've done a few other experiences in between, but you can catch it on LinkedIn. You can catch it on my YouTube. Leo Simpson II is one of those where you can see it, but you can go to my website, team30.com, and it will connect you with all of that information, how to connect with me on LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as Instagram. And I guarantee you, we have over 1,000, almost 1,200 minutes of content of just going deep dive into family life and business life being mastered. So, hey, come on, join us. We're going to make some things happen for you so you can experience some greatness over there.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad we got you on here. I'm telling you that the crew we've got going right now. I mean, you guys were chatting in the kind of green room on LinkedIn, you know, on TV. I mean, you and, Kat and Natalia and Mac. I'm telling you, the value we're adding to business owners right now to make your life special. Man, we've got the best crew out there right now. So thanks so much for joining. I'm looking forward to your input over the next several months.
Hey, thanks for this opportunity. Y'all be well.
All right, man. You be good, Leo. I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. We're going to be right back with more Biz Talk TV right after this.
Stop and think. How often do you take the time to set goals? And when you set those goals, how often do you hit them? The problem is the word goal setting. We all have goals, but goals are just wishes. Goals are what we want. What we really need is called result setting. My name is Katrin Becker, and what I do is create tailor-made result plans that ensure people will hit their targets. If you are committed for real results, let's chat and see which program is right for you and your team. Goals are just what we want, but together, results are what we will achieve.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your host and business guide, Michael Rager. See here, we got somebody new. We've got Mr. Eric Harrison. Eric, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, man. We're going to talk about something. You've got this system called Vital, right? Yes. Or is it Vital or Vitals with an S?
It's Vitals with an S.
Vitals with an S.
Yes.
So tell us what Vitals stands for, and let's get in and talk a little bit, and let's get a little deep into how it helps business owners.
Exactly. So when you hear the word vitals, think of vital signs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually like your health, right? It deals with your blood pressure. It deals with your height, even your weight. And it tells you how you're doing physically. Well, the vitals that I'm talking about really deals with self-awareness and really being able to understand yourself so that you can be more healthy mentally and even spiritually. Mm-hmm. So vitals stands for values, interests, temperament, activity timing, life goals, and your strengths. And when you really are connected to that, then you're able to do all kinds of things.
No, that's awesome. I'm telling you, man, I get that little eye look. I was going to see my doctor yesterday, tested me out. So let's get a little bit into the V, all right? So tell me, let's dive in that a little bit. So why is that important?
Well, your values are your guiding principles, right? Mm-hmm. It's the thing that you really believe in more so than anything else. Many times, people get lost in this world of social media and all this stuff coming at them that they totally forget about what they truly value. And once they do that, then people could sell you a bill of goods. They could sell you anything. And in business, when people understand that you're a person of principles and values, it takes you a long way, and it takes you on a journey that will often make you be able to give better services and be able to serve that client in a way that, will really be beneficial to both of you.
Yeah, are you a golfer?
Kinda.
All right. Yeah, me neither. I just go hit the ball around and chase it. So there's a new Netflix series that's on. It's about the PGA Tour and LIV, and you talk about values. Some of these PGA, they have to look about, hey, I am going into a new thing, and the people behind it have different values and some things that happen. So how often do values, really drive us, and how hard are they to change?
You know what? There was a time when we both were a little bit younger. We won't go too much into that. But there weren't so many things influencing us.
Yeah.
You know, all we had probably was a couple of TV shows and some people that we met outside of our household. Now we have so many things tied up into our minds, whether, like I said, it's social media or it's YouTube, of all things, with all those doggone videos. And what happens is that the lines of where we will go and won't go get blurred. And a lot of times values draw that line again for us, and it lets us know what we will do and what we won't do. And again, in business, that's super important because people need to know that so they can trust you. And trust is the main thing in business.
Business is all about trust, and that's what I mean, I actually got a guy that was referred to me the other day, and he goes, hey, I'll know how good you are if we go hit some golf balls. And so we're going to Top Golf next week to close a contract. So, you know, kind of look at that. So we go from the V, now we go to the I. Let's talk a little bit about I and what's kind of going on there.
Okay, I stands for your interest. Now, people say, what do my personal interests have to do with my professional life? It has everything to do with it. Because most times what people do, they'll code switch, they'll change themselves totally up from who they really are to try to get that business deal, to try to get that almighty dollar. And they begin to be phony. And people can smell a phony person a million miles away. When you show your genuine interest, like you said, golf, that's a genuine interest for you. Now, I don't know how good you are.
No, it's my son.
But when you show your true interest and you show who you really are, then people will be more apt to give you that business and to trust you, and then you'll build a relationship that's great for the both of you.
Yeah, I saw as we were going through your website, you do retreats and stuff like that. My business, you know, my business is called Teach Your Business to Fish, and we get people on boats. That's my real main passion is fishing.
That's awesome.
And so if you get somebody on a boat together for 8 hours, you really learn who they are. You know, we're going to laugh at them when they throw up, but you know, but they will sit out there and they talk to you. You get people outside of their comfort zone at work. You get them outside. That's why those retreats are so important, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, helping your clients. Tell me a little bit. I don't want to go into the rest of the vitals because to do it, you're going to have to go sneak a guy and pay him. That's what it's for. But tell us a little bit about why you do the things you do in your business to help people, you know, get their business vital signs up.
Well, I'm a transition coach. I'm a life/transition coach. The reason why I say life, because many times when I say transition coach, people are like, what the heck is that? So in life, we go through changes all the time. And we are creatures of habit. We don't want to change our routines. But in order for you to grow, in order for you to have anything different in life, in order for you to even get those goals that you really want, you have to go through some type of transition that's a little bit uncomfortable. What I do and what the Vitals helps you do is to, number one, know what you're based on, know what you really truly believe, so that when times are changing and when everything is swirling around you, you're standing on a rock that will never move. And then you can base all your decisions off of that. Then you'll be able to see the opportunities, the possibilities, and the things that will help you to be able to get through that transition and make the best of it.
Yeah, that was some of the stuff we were talking about on camera before we got here. People just, change is scary. We don't want to see it, but they don't understand. Without change, we can't grow.
No way.
It's all about it. So if people want to get a hold of you and they want to go, you know, figure out their vital signs, how do they get a hold of you, and, you know, what happens?
Okay, so the first place that you can go is my website, which is expressyourperspective.com. You'll be able to go there, find out more about me and what I do, and also there's a link there that you can click and really get to know more about your vitals. Also, I'm a transition coach, so I'm on all social media as Express Your Perspective. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm all over the place. Please connect, and I would love to be able to have a conversation with you.
Man, that's awesome. You know, one of the things you do, you better follow me, you better follow him. I mean, we met each other like about 4 minutes ago, and we're like best buds already. So I got a feeling.
Dude, you got to get me on that boat.
Oh yeah,
I got it, and I won't throw up. I promise.
You won't? Okay, yeah. We got a snapper trip and a tuna trip coming up this year. Man, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm there.
Things are all right. This is gonna be great. And you know, we got our whiteboards and whiskey. You talk about doing your interest stuff. That's all I do. Everything I do is interest. It makes business more fun, right?
Exactly.
Why do things you hate?
So many people do.
Unless it makes you a lot of money, and they just earned a lot of money. So, man, I love it, Eric. I hope you come back. I'm looking forward to connecting with you outside of here. I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. We're here on Biz Talk TV on the Now Media Television Network. We'll be back right after this.
Stop and think. How often do you take the time to set goals? And when you set those goals, how often do you hit them? The problem is the word goal setting. We all have goals, but goals are just wishes. Goals are what we want. What we really need is called result setting. My name is Katrin Becker, and what I do is create tailor-made result plans that ensure people will hit their targets. If you are committed for real results, let's chat and see which program is right for you and your team. Goals are just what we want, but together, results are what we will achieve.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business guide, Michael Rager, with my good friend, Roland Parker from Impress Computers. Roland, how are you today?
Hey, Michael, I'm doing great. A little bit chilly today, though.
It was warm when I swear to God, Roland, I went out at 5 this morning. Is when I got up. I was out there early. It was warm. I got out of my car to get here, and it was cold. I'm like, what the heck?
Houston weather can be kind of bipolar sometimes.
It is. It's that time of the bipolar year. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk about emails and HIPAA compliance. What do you got to do if you own a company that has to be HIPAA compliant? What do you got to do to protect your emails and protect your clients?
So HIPAA does actually allow you to send information via email. So they have something called PHI, which is Protected Health Information, but you've got to do it in a secure way. So obviously you can't use a free email like Yahoo, Gmail, or anything like that, and it should be encrypted. So if it's encrypted on your side and you send it securely, they do allow it. But we still recommend that you try and use a patient portal wherever possible. So let's have a look at it. You've got PHI, but there's also PII. So this would then apply to CPAs or anybody really sending and receiving emails that would contain things like social security numbers, credit card information. And what you don't realize, you're sending an email from your computer to the other person's computer, but it bounces off probably 4 different servers. So sending information via email is not always very secure, especially when the recipient is then using a Gmail, a Yahoo, an AOL, or who knows what.
Oh, it's we're talking about this. If you don't have an email address that is Roland at the name of your company, you don't really have a business, number one. And number 2 is you're not protecting your clients. So what you're saying right now is, a lot of what you're talking about is going to a lot of white-collar professionals. So you're looking at medical facilities, you're looking at law firms, CPA firms, bookkeepers, all those white-collar professionals.
And they're corresponding with your patient or with your client, and you have to transfer information. So like if you're a CPA, you've got you've got everything related to them. You've got their social security numbers, you've got date of birth, you've got their tax returns. You should never send that type of information via email, and if you do, you've got to make sure it's encrypted. So you really want to have a better system of transferring that type of information. A secure portal or a way for your customer or your patient to upload that information or enter that information. Sending it via email is very risky, and even if you do send it secure and you say, hey, I'm doing everything on my end, you're still putting that client or that patient at risk if you're sending it to them and they've got a Yahoo or a Gmail or an AOL. So you can do everything and you can say, yes, I've protected myself, but you've really got to look at, am I really doing the best thing for my client, for my patient? Because you can send it securely, you can put it encrypted, but if they've got a free Gmail, they can be exposed.
Okay,
So
So you mentioned portals. So now I own a business and I need to collect, sensitive information. Is my web developer going to, put that portal in? Are there plugins, or do we need to hire a specialized, developer that's really, really knowledgeable about this protection?
Yeah, so if you do work with your website person, you've got to make sure that they know that this is going to have a place to contain secure information. So it's got to be encrypted, it's got to be secure. We use a platform called Ignite that you can have it plugged in, but you give the person the ability with a login and information to be able to put that secure information that gets deposited onto that server, and then you move it off. So that's a far better way than sending it electronically via email, just because of, emails are always getting compromised, and the fact that it bounces off 4 different servers before the recipient even gets to it.
So where does my legal my legal responsibility move? I'm doing everything to send information to my client, but my client wants to use these unsecured emails. When does it become their responsibility versus my responsibility as a business owner?
So your real responsibility is to make sure, yes, I'm sending it securely. If it's got identifiable information, either PII or PHI, then you've got to send it encrypted. If you send it encrypted, you're protected, and it's up to that end person. If they decide that they're going to correspond by using free emails, then that responsibility lies on them. You've done everything on your part. We're just saying, well, just because people don't know what they don't know, it's better to give them a better option and say, this is how I'd prefer to deal with you. If you insist on me sending it to you via email, I'm going to send it secured. If you send it back to me and you're going to give me your credit card information of unsecured email, that onus is on you. But I think as a business owner, you still need to make sure that you give them a second option that is more secure.
Yeah, I know me. I get some of my clients pay me in credit card like that, and we've got a portal through our accounting section. And the last thing I want as a business owner is I don't want to be carrying somebody's credit card information.
Don't give me your information.
I don't want
your credit card. It can be kept in a secure, encrypted merchant portal where they know that they've got that. Don't send it to me. Don't give it to me. I don't want it. I don't want to keep your information.
You should see me carry my own crap, let alone you give me yours. So Roland, people want to get a hold of you and get some things fixed and really upgrade their systems. How do they get a hold of you?
Best thing to do, give us a call, 281-647-9977, or just go straight to our website, impresscomputers.tech. That's IMPRESS, computers.tech. You can schedule a meeting with me directly. We'll come down there, sit down with you, and find out what's the best way to keep you secure, keep your customers' data secure, and keep you protected.
Well, that's awesome. That's some good stuff. And remember, it's your job as a business owner to protect your client just as well as you're protecting yourself. So I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. I'm here on Now Media TV, Biz Talk TV with Michael Rager. We'll see you right after this.
Hello, my name is Colleen Meagle and I'm an attorney. Let's talk business. Do you have a business that you want to buy or sell? It's crucial to get an attorney involved sooner rather than later in any sale process, because the moment that documents are signed, your leverage goes right out the window. So make sure that you get what you really want and protect yourself in the process. So if you're looking to sell, let's talk. I've handled acquisitions for Fortune 200 companies and helped numerous business owners discover how a great lawyer is a partner in a transaction, guiding you through the process and preventing you from making mistakes that can cost you thousands. My goal is to provide my clients with focused, cost-effective, yet practical legal solutions. So let me help you with your legal needs. Call me today, 713-300-9662.
Hey, I'm Michael Rager, your business guide, and welcome back. I'm telling you, this was a great show today. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to get done and I'm going to go watch it again. I'm going to go back to social media. I'm going to go back to Now TV. nowmediatelevision.com, and I'm going to go watch this again. There's so many great people and so much great information today. I'm telling you. We opened up the show today talking about people, product, and process. You know, that's what we got to talk about, and we got to work on that as a business owner. And today we talked a lot about people. And so I'm asking you as the business owner, who do you got to work on? Is it you? You know, there's a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's about you. I tell people, I was a leadership coach for a long time, and I studied under John Maxwell, and I did this and I did that, but it was really hard going in and telling small entrepreneurs, business owners, they got to become better leaders. You know, they were worried about, that wasn't what was keeping them up at night, but 9 times out of 10, the symptoms we were seeing was because they were not being great leaders. And you just heard about it today from Catherine. You heard about it from Leo. You heard about it from Eric, who just left. I mean, it was just awesome. And, you know, then we start talking about our product and process. We start looking at what we heard today from Kristen. You know, it was so good about understanding your P&L statement and what to do. And then if you go ahead and you're in the medical industry, you know, the things that Roland talked about today about making sure you understand HIPAA and, you know, how you have these things that are sensitive to your business. That's really important. So remember, as a business owner, we got to focus on the 3 Ps. And again, I'm stealing this from Marcus Lemonis. It's your people. All right, we got to understand the people that work with us and the people we work for. The next is our product. Is our product or service? What do we deliver and how do we get better? And the last thing is our process. How do we make things work smoothly? That's what it's about in business, is making things smoothly, because the more smoothly it works, the more money we make. So I'm Michael Razor, your business guide. Man, I'm telling you, this show is getting better and better every week. I just can't wait till next week and see what happens. So go out there, make it a great day, and